Broadcasting live from the Subaru of Gwinnett studio inside the Sonesta Gwinnett Place Atlanta Hotel. It's time for Gwinnett Business Radio.
Greetings and salutations, everybody. My name is Stephen Julian. Today, I will be your slightly annoying host, but with me, beside me, is the fantastic and stupendous co-host, she who is known as Amanda Pearch. Hello there, Amanda.
Good morning, Stephen.
How are you doing today?
I'm well, and yourself?
I am doing great. We just wasted 8 seconds of everybody's time doing that whole, hey, how you doing? I'm good. How you doing?
It's a typical intro.
But it's actually important during this time because we want to know that everybody's doing well, correct?
Exactly.
We are still in the midst of the craziness of the COVID-19 lockdown, but you're allowed to get together in small groups, and we have a small group with us today in the studio, and we're excited that we are doing the show live from the Subaru of Gwinnett studios inside the beautiful Sonesta Atlanta Gwinnett Place Hotel. We have two guests with us today. Matt Moeck is with Nexstar Communications, and Denise Gray is with DKS Esthetics.
I'm glad you pronounced that word right, because I've been slaughtering it.
Well, and I think that's why Mike is producing the show today in the penalty box. He wanted to see if I would make a mistake, but the show is still young.
Yes.
So there's still plenty of time for me to butcher.
Who's joining Mike in the penalty box?
With him in the penalty box is our new summer intern, also known as my son Joshua, and this is his first day here today, and he's going to be checking things out. I don't think Mike is going to let him touch the soundboard at all today, but the day is still young. So let's get right into it. We are excited to welcome Matt Moeck with Nexstar Communications. Matt, welcome to the studio.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So Nexstar Communications, obviously we know it has something to do with communications. Tell us about what Nexstar is and what you guys do.
Yeah, so we have 29 retail Sprint locations. Technically now, of course, we're going through the merger, so we will be T-Mobile moving forward. But we have 29 retail locations across Georgia, and then we have our outside sales team that actually works with business-to-business, IoT solutions, stuff like that.
In that business-to-business, talk about what so a typical business owner who's listening, who thinks, yeah, I got a cell phone. What do you mean? What about it? Talk about that next level. Talk about the stuff that the business owner needs in terms of their you can talk about cell phone plans, but also beyond that. What does that entail?
Yeah, so I mean, it's everything like our newest phase that we're going into, of course, is 5G, where I think every business is, but Internet of Things is a big thing moving forward. So it's more of complex solutions, not just your typical handset, tablet, hotspot, but it's actually more everything from GPS tracking to wireless forms. But how can we deep dive on your business and really peel it back and see what solution from a communication standpoint makes sense for your business? And
because it's a Sprint T-Mobile, if all I need is that cell phone, tablet, hotspot, you certainly can handle that as well.
Correct.
Okay.
I will say, actually, I've known Matt for a while now through Young Professionals and various networking events. And Mike and I actually switched to Sprint Nexstar about a year ago, and we've been very happy with our service. In addition, our great Chamber of Commerce utilizes them for the Wi-Fi whenever you're in any of the meeting spaces.
What kind of difference? What were you looking for? What was Business RadioX looking for that they found through Nexstar?
It was more affordable. The service, I switched from Verizon, I'm not gonna lie, and the service is comparable. The only hiccup I ever experienced is when I was traveling to Virginia, but my parents live in the sticks, so that's to be imagined. But everything else was status quo. I got an awesome new phone. It's the color that I love, and I'm saving about $30 a month.
Nice.
Well, let's pivot, Stephen, really quickly, because we know all about Matt's wonderful position here at Nexstar. We actually hosted his dad not too long ago, and he shared the story of how they became established. I want to know from you, as the VP of Sales, how you're leading your team and how you're keeping them engaged during this unique time of remote access.
Yeah, so I think everybody is, like I was saying earlier, I think it's going to be a new norm on the other side of this. So I think more than anything, what I've tried to do is as leaders, we're the beacon. So they're looking at us just like if you're going in a field of battle and you look back at your leader, if his hand's shaky, then, they're going to be shaky as well. So I've really tried to amp up our meetings, stay overly communicated and engaged. We have daily mandatory meetings. I think also keeping the discipline. Still keeping great at the basics when you show up virtually. I still expect you to look good. I don't expect you to look like a slob. But I think staying great at the basics, at the same time providing clarity, over-communicate right now. I think that's the big thing. Get any rumors out there and handle them quickly. So I try, and loving on your people is the same thing. So I think that you need to be empathetic during this time, but at the same time to still hold your people accountable keep them great at the basics, because when you come out on the other side of this thing, which we will, you're not hearing that on the news, but you will get to the other side of this. So it's just a matter of if you're going to be faster, more confident, or less.
So you talk about leadership, and obviously there's that idea of a manager kind of leading a team, being the coach of a team. I miss the start of baseball season. I can't wait for baseball to come back. And one of the cool things about baseball is when you watch a rally happening. Is there a rallying cry? That was a long way to go for a pun, but I went there.
No,
what's been the rallying cry for Nexstar and for you as the leader of the team?
So I think that's the other thing. I mean, right now we have 11 a.m. calls every day. Whether we have anything to update or not, we still have it. Like, we're actually seeing, I encourage them to bring their dogs on. I found out that, hey, if you're working remotely, I want to know your dogs, at the same time. So I think not being so buttoned up, sometimes we just talk about, hey, what'd you do today? But I think that, hey, what'd you do to personally develop yourself? Did you watch that podcast? Did you do this? Did you get on this online training? But the rally cry right now, I think that's important, because each day you need to tell your teams what is most important today. Don't worry about yesterday. Don't worry about tomorrow. What's most important right now, and how are we accomplishing that? And then I think moving into what is your rally cry for that day. But our overall rally cry right now is train, train, train. Train, educate, train, educate. Never waste the crisis to take advantage of, unfortunately. But at the same time, this is an opportunity for my guys to really skill up. So when we get on the other side of this thing, they're already ahead of it. They're not trying to remove the locomotive and get it moody. So my thing has been like overtraining and making sure I'm requiring that, and then backing that up with data. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And not only of your staff, I guess what I'm asking, or what I would ask as well, is there an opportunity to train and educate the client? Or is a lot of your stores and a lot of your team leaders, are they able to continue to stay in contact with businesses who are still open, essential businesses that are working and still have communication needs?
Yeah, so, it's funny. Our business team is actually leading the company. So we actually have 8 stores open, because we still are required as an essential service. We're actually opening up 5 more next week. So and actually the stores are doing well. I mean, because people are wanting to stay in communication, but our business side has boomed. We can't even keep these hotspots in stock because now people are remotely working from home. So the money in the revenue stream has shifted. And so if I look at that, it's almost like, tablets, we've had a huge increase with that with businesses. Our police departments have actually amped up on mobile hotspots and stuff like that. So, and I think that's important right now as a business. You need to not necessarily look at the monetization behind it, but maybe offer a free training, maybe offer a free podcast. Hey, what about this? What are you doing here? What problems are you having in your business or struggles right now that we can help? Because I think the warm touches right now that you can do and say, hey, how's your business holding up? How are you holding up? What can I help you with from a communication standpoint? Did that kind of answer your question?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, you're exemplary of that, and I tip my hat to you for wanting to drive morale to your team. I follow you guys on Facebook, and you guys are super energetic with your posts. I love how you pay accolade to your team for the awards and just for top sales and stuff like that. And you mentioned showing up and getting dressed and just, rallying, to use Steven's word, the team every day. And I know you are always a well-dressed man, so I can imagine that you are leading by example during this time, and people are looking to you for that guidance. So cheers to you for continuing that. And I agree, Steven and I mentioned in a previous episode, if we don't come out of this sharper, then we've done nothing during this time.
I was waiting for the question.
I was just, it was a
But
thought.
there's no question needed when she's giving you a tip of the cap.
Yeah, appreciate it.
So fantastic. You talked about the merger. Kind of big news in the world of finance, and in my day as a independent financial advisor. Sprint and T-Mobile coming together. We're not looking for a scoop. We're not looking for any insider information, because I would go to jail for that. But instead, kind of talk about how that's, because that started right before all this craziness.
Sure.
So how has that affected, and what's the long-term goal of Sprint and T-Mobile coming together?
Yeah, it's crazy because this thing has been going on for about 2 years. So I mean, we've been fighting and fighting and fighting, and you'd hear about this, and you had the government, and you had all this going on. So it's kind of crazy. We thought that there would be a halt as far as when all this COVID-19 happened, but actually they pushed forward with it. So like they said, oh yeah, we could hold it and wait and whatnot, but we finally saw the light. We are now officially, day 1 or day 0 for T-Mo was a few weeks ago. Day 1, of course, we're looking more into the later months and as we flip stores and stuff like that. But, I think the big thing that we're excited about is T-Mobile is rated number 1 as far as customer service in the wireless industry. So that by far, I think, is a big differentiator going forward, is going to be how you treat your WOW experience and your customers. So they're investing $3 billion into the actual network over the next 3 years. Their mindset is there's never been a wireless carrier that could offer the best value and pricing and offer the best network and at the same time customer service. So their goal is to really go after 5G for all, not necessarily just be the best carrier in the nation as far as leading 5G on the planet.
And that's so the merger made sense in the terms of Sprint had the better coverage. I mean, the bigger network, correct? And T-Mobile kind of had that customer service. And now by combining those two forces, you guys kind of have it all and have it all when it comes to the customer getting the best treatment. And we were talking a little bit off air. The other thing that this 5G rollout is going to do is kind of great service for all. There's a lot of, we live in a metro area and we don't think about not having coverage. In a former life, I lived in Montana, and there are spots where you don't get great coverage, and there's plenty of rural areas here in this state and many states that have kind of been underserved. So talk about what T-Mobile's looking to do moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, one of their biggest things that I've heard on several calls and what they really continue to go after is they are focused on expansion, but their number one focus on expansion is rural areas. So they told us to, be ready to go and open up doors in rural areas. 5G for all, of course, if you look at their website, is a big hashtag that they're doing. But again, rural areas, and especially as we're seeing now, even these kids that have to work from home, what if they can't afford these internet services? What if they don't have it in the good areas? So I think their focus is providing service for all, like you said, but really focusing on those rural areas to amp up, making sure we have adequate 4G, and then as we continue to roll out our 5G.
We're talking with Matt Moeck. He is with Nexstar Communications, VP of Sales. Let's talk about the future. There's now a rollout of this merger. You guys are going into the future, and we're going to come out of all this craziness.
Absolutely. And
some things will be different, but what will stay the same is business still needs to get done. And Nexstar Communications, working with the local business community, talk a little bit about the future and talk a little bit about those business owners. What do they need that Nexstar has and can deliver to them? Right now, it's been tablets and hotspots and being able to work from home. But talk about coming out of this and transitioning. What are you guys going to be able to do to help the local business owner and why they need to call you?
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I think out of this, a new norm will come. No matter what, we will be different. And I think that is how businesses operate, whether that be remotely or how they handle business. So I think that we got to really keep our eyes open, and creativity is real big right now with our group. So I think that when we come on the other side, the future, we will be different, but at the same time, it's all about, will you be faster? Will you be stronger? Will you be more confident? From a business standpoint, I think there will be people that will start working remotely. Hey, I can actually get this done from home, and so I think that will provide data, needs, whether it be hotspots or tablets or whatever else. But at the end of the day, we're here to help connect people. And whatever that means from a wireless standpoint, we're here to help do that.
I saw a meme as this was starting that said, after working a couple weeks at home, I've realized that 95% of conference calls or 95% of the traveling I did might not be necessary, and 95% of the emails I receive might not be necessary as well. But what is necessary is you still need to communicate. Mm-hmm. Maybe we were just kind of using communication as filler, but communication is key, and Nexstar is there to help with those communication needs, whether it's working remotely, whether it's a simple, I'm a small business that just needs a hotspot and a tablet and a cell phone, or I need to outfit a whole police department or a whole chamber of commerce, correct?
Yes, sir.
So for those people who want to work with the best, how do they contact Nexstar Communications?
Our website is www.nxtstr.com. Has a list of our locations and information there. You can also follow us on Instagram at Sprint Nexstar. We're also on Facebook or Sprint Nexstar if you type that in, and then LinkedIn Sprint Nexstar as well.
This is a little unprecedented. Normally, once you give the
and
contact,
Twitter. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Twitter,
yeah, go
Sprint Nexstar.
Okay,
so pretty simple.
Sprint Nexstar.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is a little bit unprecedented, but with someone with such reach and can work with any size business, small or large, I would imagine those store locations matter, because it's not just there's no physical footprint, right? I could do something with someone who I'll never see, but having that, if I'm a business owner, having that store near me, there's some.
Yeah, we work with like Ted Hayes is a great example. Hayes Chrysler, he goes into our Lawrenceville store a lot, but he works with our business team. So it's like you said, these owners, they like to send their people into our locations. Shoemate Mechanical is another one.
Yeah.
So again, that's been a benefit.
I love it. Matt Moeck, Nexstar Communications, thank you so much for being here.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Amanda, you have something you want to say before we get to our next guest. Is that correct?
Do I? Is it about our partners at the Subaru of
I
Gwinnett?
think there's something you want to talk about, love or something like that.
This is normally your read, but I'll be happy to say it. Stephen, love is what makes a Subaru. And at Subaru, get big savings and enjoy their hassle-free experience. Subaru of Gwinnett is where people sell cars. In addition, they are also virtually selling cars during this unique time. Visit SubaruofGwinnett.com and join their family today. Come in and see the difference. Already a Subaruist like Mike? Then follow them on Facebook. Their page offers the latest news and all the community events. We love our partners at Subaru.
Fantastic. We've had some guests do that read, because we've had some guests who were voiceover actors or, were really, and Mike would always joke, "Oh, Steven, you're out of a job." He always wants to fire me. I think that I'm going to retype this for us because there's lots of little additions and subtractions that'll really give someone a tongue twister when they're trying to It's hard, isn't it?
It is, but
it's
you do it
that,
so well. I'm sure you can recite it in your sleep.
I sometimes answer the phone and say, "Love, it's what makes a Subaru." And Subaru Gwinnett would be happy to hear that. But I was just going to say that I think my job is in trouble. You did a great job.
Oh, thank you so much.
We are pleased to welcome into the studio Denise Gray with DKS Esthetics. Denise, welcome to the studio.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Now, Nexstar Communications, I knew it was about communications, but I know there are some people that hear aesthetics and go, not quite sure what that is. So tell everybody what your company is and what you guys do.
Sure. Thank you so much. So DKS Esthetics is a solo practice appointment-only spa that deals with men, women, and teens for anything from anti-aging to sensitive skin, sun damage, hyperpigmentation. So I deal with all spectrums of skin issues.
I like that you also said men because I had no idea that a man would have a need to see someone in your profession.
Men have skin.
Well, I understand that, yes. But you typically think of, I don't know if I'm going to use the right word, but beautifying services, making, I know your skin is just so vibrant, and Dr. Rebecca's too, and, services that women usually gravitate to. Expand on some of the services you offer for men.
Yeah, so for men, I see men for beard facials. So,
Ooh.
So a lot of men that have,
I'm starting to grow one.
Yeah, especially in this time. I'm sure there's a lot of men at home right now that are not shaving, right?
Exactly.
So, beards hold a lot of bacteria in them, and also takes away some of the oils from your face, right? So you usually get a little dry skin underneath there. So... yeah, so we do beard facials and some other things. Men age as well, right? So do some anti-aging treatments for them. Men play golf or different sports like that, and so they're out in the sun and get wind burnt and different things like that, so they have a lot of dry skin. So we do special treatments for that as well.
Neat.
I think when someone first hears a description of what you do, and if the word spa is in there, they think, that's just pampering. But really, there's a lot of medical, and there's a lot of and anti-aging. People think, that's just for that's just for beautification. But there's a lot of medical benefits. There's a lot of dangers, and when I've met you networking, that it kind of comes through that this is not just about looking pretty.
Right.
This is important stuff. So what are some of the hidden dangers? What are some of the things people? I mean, I can tell you that anyone with a beard probably went, "What? There's bacteria in the beard?" She just said there's bacteria. So what are some of those hidden dangers that people don't realize, and why this might be more than just a extra expense? This is a necessity.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think what people miss out on is that, the skin is the largest organ of the body, right? And a lot of us pay attention to getting ourselves healthy and eating right or exercising or different things like that. But then we forget about our skin. And kind of what got me into this, I've been in healthcare for almost 3 decades now. And I was diagnosed with skin cancer at an early age, at the age of 30. And a lot of my family members, I'm from California originally, grew up in the high desert, 115 degree weather. So, I didn't know about, taking care of my skin back in the day. And a lot of people didn't pay attention to it. And what we see at a later age is all that sun damage coming up. And so a lot of my clients, when they come in, I can't diagnose from a medical standpoint as a licensed esthetician. That's just a no-go. But what I can do is I can identify areas that look suspicious and send them to, a dermatologist, and refer them out, which I have been doing. And a lot of my clients are very thankful because I've, really found some things early on them. Mm-hmm. And so I think, what people need to understand is that our skin is really important. I mean, look at this COVID thing, there's a lot of things. Our skin breaks down when we don't take care of it. That's our first line of defense, is our skin. And so if we don't take care of it, that's the things that can penetrate through and really get to us. So that's why it's so important, is are you cleansing it right? Are you protecting it from the sun? Are you protecting it from, the outside elements? And that's what I do. So what sets me apart from a lot of other companies is that, a lot of other spas that are just, for beautification type things, is that I do a lot of education with my clients. Mm-hmm. And, we really look at, those types of things of are you cleansing it properly? Are you, sun, protecting it on a daily basis, whether it's sunny or not, you should be wearing sunscreen.
Oh, I don't wear enough sunscreen.
Don't worry, I brought you some today.
Oh, how exciting. Well, I do have to just brag on Denise here for a moment because she was recently featured in the Swanee magazine and they did a beautiful spread about her. Denise, tell us a little bit about that article.
Yeah, no, it was really nice. It told a lot about just kind of my background and where I, grew up and kind of where I came from. So, I joined the military at 17 and went straight into the medical field at that point. I was a medic in the Navy for about 10 years and got out and was a nurse and did that for a while, and then climbed the corporate ladder of on the healthcare administration side, and that's kind of what brought me to Georgia. So it was just nice that they were able to kind of feature that part of me and tell the community about me. And I live to give back, and so it was able to kind of express that to the Swanee community and share that piece of me, so it was really sweet.
Yes. Well, thank you for your service. Yeah. I know you and I have had conversations in the past about what led you to your road of DKS. Mm-hmm. And we just briefly had a conversation before the show about how DKS came about. So share a little bit about the name itself, because I think it's a really cute story.
Yeah, so DKS is, the first initial obviously is mine. The K is my mother's, and the S is my daughter, Sophia. So it just stands for the 3 generations of women, basically, that I treat. And yeah, so it's kind of a sweet little name.
Personal, yes.
Yeah,
it's very catchy, too.
I love I love that in less than 60 seconds, that is quite a journey packed with joining the military at 17 and then becoming a nurse and then going into the administrative side or the corporate side of healthcare, and now kind of into this part of the journey is kind of probably 100% you and kind of all your passions into one thing and one area where you can really make a difference. And sorry that this interview won't near be long enough. Sounds like there might be a book in there or a made-for-TV movie. Who knows? But let me ask this. Obviously, in the midst of this journey, now this whole weirdness of COVID kind of comes in, and you're doing something called Help COVID Heroes. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so obviously my practice was completely shut down, and so trying to figure out a way. Since I was 17, I've been wanting to just help people and to give back, right? So I was trying to come up with a way of how I can do this, and I had a chief that I was in the military with that had reached out to me and wanted to help me as a small business. And so he says, listen, I want to donate every week $25 to your business. But I live in Louisiana, and so I don't have, I could buy a gift card, but I don't know who to give it to, right? And he said, so if you can tell me someone to give it to, then, I'll just keep donating every week. And I thought, well, let's give it to someone, like
a frontline.
A frontline hero, right? And so it just sparked this thing in me to where, what if, more people want to do that? And I had more people reaching out to me saying, I want to help your business. But, they live in California or they live in other states. And so I just developed on my website basically a kind of a button that people can now go online and they can either buy e-gift cards or they can donate to a hero. So they can send them, if they know a hero already, they can do the e-gift card themselves, or if they want to donate to the business, and then we select a hero for them. And how I'm giving back is I'm taking 50% off all services for those heroes, and 25% off all the merchandise. So that's how people can help my small business, but then also at the same time, I'm giving back to the community.
What I love about her initiative, Stephen, the COVID for Heroes, is that she's focusing on our local community.
Yeah.
So her business is in Suwanee. So all these people that are donating, they're fueling the small businesses in the Gwinnett area and giving back to the frontline heroes.
I love it. And we're going to do a little tease here because we're not going to give your website just yet. Hang on for a couple more minutes because we want to keep talking. We're talking with Denise Gray. She is with DKS Esthetics. So COVID has clearly kind of impacted your business, but you haven't let that impact you. You're continuing to give back, you're continuing to serve, and continuing to work hard. As we come out of this, and as people are allowed to kind of do commerce again in a more normalized way or just face-to-face, give an idea to our listeners who have listened to this and say, you're right, my skin is important. I do need to look at something. Talk about how that starts. Talk about whether there's a free consultation. What would it look like for someone to start working with DKS Esthetics?
Yeah, so I currently give free consultations now. So people can go online and they can book for a free consultation. And even now during the COVID, I actually have started now virtual consultations. So they can get a 30-minute free virtual consultation with me. So I can do it now or after the COVID, they can, come in and meet with me personally. I always have my clients bring in whatever products they're using now, because they could have good products and, or they could have products that aren't good for their skin. So I work with them and just see, Go ahead.
There are some so would you say there are some products out there that are for the skin that necessarily aren't really good and have some bad stuff in it?
Yeah. So, the thing is that, there's so much, media out there on products, right? So someone could have really good products, but just not right for their skin. And so they could be spending lots of money on great product, but it's just not right for their skin type. And so we talk about that. So I help educate them. Or, they could have some good and some bad. Yeah. And so I fill in the gaps with the stuff that I have. And so it's just really about just educating and just talking with them, figuring out their goal. So they could have good product, but it's not right for what they're trying to achieve. And so, I just work with them and just help educate them, and we build a plan for them.
What I love is no matter what's happening, whenever our listeners are listening to this, if we're still in the midst of COVID-19 kind of stay at home, hey, you're still open. There's virtual consultation. If you're listening after we've all started kind of returning to some kind of normal where we're out and about, there's probably still virtual consultation and there's face-to-face consultation because you said that at the very beginning. It's by appointment. You're a solo practice, and there's some margin to help people. But I also heard in the midst of that interview that if this interview just blows the doors off and you get so much stuff that you can't handle everybody, you already refer people out when they need to talk to someone actually in the medical field to look at a condition. I would imagine you also have great relationships with other people. If you get so busy, if this interview just makes you so busy that there's not enough time, I kind of imagine you probably have some friends that could help them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's part of giving back, right?
Right. Absolutely.
You want to help people, whether it's with you or with someone else that'll help them.
Yeah.
So how do people get that virtual consultation? How do people find out more about DKS Esthetics?
So they can go online to my website, which is DKS Esthetics, ESTHETICS.com. They can also give me a phone call at 678-249-9493. I'm also on Instagram at DKS Esthetics. So they can just reach out. They can book online. Everything's, right there.
And if they missed writing all that down or misspelled aesthetics, they can just search Denise Gray Suwanee Magazine and read the great article.
Absolutely.
And of course, they found you through our website too, so fantastic. Denise, thank you so much for being here. And thanks for giving back, and thanks for and on that website, is a way that people can give back to the heroes who are in the midst of all this.
Yes, correct.
I love it. Fantastic. So, Denise, thanks for being here. Amanda,
Hey,
great show.
you too.
Thanks.
I want to give a couple shout outs if I may have the mic for just a moment.
I will step away.
We are sitting here. Matt's lovely wife is the marketing director of Eastside Medical Center, and they are also one of our partners. So I did just want to thank Eastside Medical Center for all the hard work that they're doing, and thank Matt for sacrificing his beautiful wife to the front lines, and Hope and her team for all of their efforts as well, because they're keeping our community whole right now, and I know that they're really experiencing some challenges.
Hashtag community partners.
Hashtag community partners.
But more importantly, hashtag heroes. Right?
Hashtag heroes.
So you had a couple. That's one.
That was one. That was it, I think.
Well, you said a couple.
Couple
So you have to
shout-outs.
come up with one.
No.
Oh, no?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. The other one was our social media. How could I forget?
Exactly.
Silly me. We are
You know what it
available.
is? You were so giving back and so worried about, making sure other people were taken care of. You forgot to take care of Business Radio X. So why don't you do that now?
I will. And it's the 6 shots of espresso swimming through my veins right now. So, woo! You guys stay connected with us on social media at Gwinnett Radio X. And please follow us online. We are available on all podcast apps, wherever you get your podcast. And you can always listen to us at our home on the web at businessradiox.com/Gwinnett Studio.
Fantastic. So many ways. In fact, there's a challenge going on with the Gwinnett studio of Business Radio X, and that challenge is you find a podcasting platform that we're not on. We dare you to find one because you
We're on them
can't.
all.
We
But-
are on them all. But if you do,
If you do,
And you let us
Steven
know.
and I will do our age in burpees. I'm going to be doing a lot
I was going to
less
say
burpees
we
than
will
you.
get our show listed on that podcast platform.
We got to make it exciting.
She'll do her age and burpees. I'll give
Mike
you
will
a
do 'em
gift
too.
card to a restaurant of your choice.
Ooh.
How's
Papa-
that?
Papa does.
I get out of physical exercise with money. So, all right. So, for our producer Mike and our intern Joshua, and for Amanda, this is Stephen Julian saying we'll catch you next time on Gwinnett Business Radio.